Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Francisco. I'm gonna do this intro to computers, not computer science, but it's actually the foundation if you're gonna start from scratch. And I've been going over some courses, especially JavaScript, where I'm talking about certain things, and it doesn't really make sense how you're applying because whenever you're building, you don't have a solid foundation on what you're trying to do and accomplish as far as programming goes. So I thought it'd be great to actually get started here. And this doesn't necessarily have to be something that is totally related to programming. It could also be applied to troubleshooting. So if you're going to get your A plus, this is a great start too, because it definitely gives you that foundation for you to actually to get into the mindset of thinking about how computers work. But it also helps you understand how we're using computers and how to develop applications for computers. So without further ado, let's start. So the first lesson is, what do we use computers for? And this is very important because it'll give you the foundation of how we're using computers in a modern day workplace environment. So computers have a wide range of application, from financial applications, manufacturing controls, to personal computers for entertainment. So I've happened to have a very good experience, and I've been lucky enough to been able to see how different industries work and how different industries have computer applications, and how computers have a central role in providing the infrastructure and support to allow people to do really amazing things. So I used to work for a company that was a financial based company, and they used their computers to store transactions, store information for customers, obviously, and we would also keep track of financial applications, and then integrate also with other vendors that would also interact as far as relaying financial information, whether people had good credit or were able to qualify for certain loans. So all in the background, all those things are going on, and every time you go into a business, that business has to log the transaction. And also, every day, whenever you come home and you play your PlayStation, technically the PlayStation is a computer. It's a very simple computer because it doesn't have a broad. I don't know about nowadays, but it used to be that the PlayStations, at least the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendos, were just a very simple machine that would only execute a certain type of code. And they were designed to just execute that. Personal computers now are a little bit more are very robust. You can run financial applications yourself, or watch videos or play video games. But essentially, you every day, especially with your phone, interact with some sort of computer every day. And also in manufacturing situations, computers can take information on how much a product is being produced a day. Are you ship How many products are you shipping, what time, how long does it take for an employee to do a certain action, and all that information is logged, and it can be applied on the back end, where financial accountants take count of how much it takes, how much it costs to produce a product by tracking labor time, the cost of parts, how many parts are we ordering, analytics for how much we should order, how much of metal should we order if we're producing like tables, how much glass do we need if we're making glass tables. So it's a very interesting application for computers, because you literally have computers in almost every industry, and they provide such an essential and crucial role that whenever you go to certain places and they're having a bad day because their computers are down, they can't really do anything. So that's definitely a big use for computers. It's just tracking transactions if you're going to take any information out of this. So this is a key concept. So data is the most important and simple concept of a computer science. So what is data? Data essentially is information. Information is a little bit more refined, but data is raw data. So scientists extract or get data and store the data on computers. So, for example, if you're decoding, if you have an element and you have oxygen, you need to know how many neutrons, protons, and electrons are in oxygen. And as far as that goes, that's data, because you don't really know, okay, what is an electron, what is a proton, what's a neutron. Once you start classifying that, you go into information, into actual information, and we can talk about that in more detail in later courses. But that's all you need to know is data is just raw data. So you make a transaction. The raw data is, I got $10 out of that transaction. Okay, so that's just pretty much what data is, and it's a very crucial part of computers. Without data, we don't really have a use for computers, right? So a computer's job is to take input, and that is the data, and we're storing that data. So whenever you take a picture on your phone, you're taking the input and storing it. And the cool thing about it is that later, once you take that picture, you can view the picture on your phone. And that's the most simplistic way of me to describe it. And we're actually going to go into more examples here in a little bit. So input. Input can be whether you're typing on your keyboard or using your mouse or touching your iPad or iPhone. That in itself is a form of input. Whether it's a virtual keyboard or an actual keyboard, a camera or a scanner is also input. So you're actually taking data from a camera. It's taking the data, which is that image, from like a cash register. You're taking that information that I am receiving $20, and I am putting that information somewhere. And where we put that information is the storage. And it doesn't really, and here's the thing, we've been using information systems forever. It doesn't really matter if we're storing it in a hard drive or in a paper file. We're doing some sort of storage. But the cool thing about computers is that you're doing it virtually. So that would be on a hard drive, a flash drive, anywhere where you can call back that data and retrieve it later. So that's what storage is. As long as you can get that data back at some future point of time, then you're storing the data. And output. And this is something that kind of gets blurred nowadays because we have these devices called iPhones and Androids where it blurs the line because we're inputting data and we're also outputting data because we have a screen. But essentially, output would be what you see. Whenever you're able to read a message, that is output. So whenever you print something out of your printer, that is also output because you're retrieving data that you have stored. So any data that you're storing, you're outputting because you're consuming it. So that's essentially like the holy trinity of data. You input data, you store data, and you output data. So pretty much the summary is that computers play an essential role in our society. Understanding how computers work is a must-have skill for the future because these are the tools that we're using. We're inputting data into computers, we're storing that data, and then we're consuming the data. Whether it's you're trying to figure out how many Krabby Patties you're going to produce that day, or if you're trying to understand why on Wednesday you're not selling any Krabby Patties at all, is a product that you're receiving whenever you're using tools. And the cool thing is that in a business environment, you're using the computers to further elevate your business. And we can go into a little bit more business-oriented applications, but pretty much what you need to know is that these are the tools that we're using every day to do work. And especially with coronavirus, it's getting more prevalent that computers are here to stay, and understanding how to use them is a must. Thank you guys. My name is Francisco, and if you'd like to learn more about computers, you can head over to sufrancisco.dev, and I have more tutorials right now. I'm primarily working on teaching people how to use JavaScript and how to program with JavaScript. since it's one of the most common programming languages in the world. But I will be putting more technology focused and business oriented material out there. So please let me know how I'm doing. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you.